at the port of Corinth. The reason why I have you here is because today's episode it's an interview of a man that he spent all his lifetime in sea. His life story could easily be a Hollywood blockbuster movie, and I'm not exaggerating, not even a little bit. He told me how he survived from the German bombing at the age of 11 back in his native island of Chios, and how at the age of 16 he shipped all alone from Chios, from the port of Piraeus to Los Angeles, all by himself at the age of 16, with one and only dream to fulfill: to become a captain, like the rest of his family, as he will tell you in the interview that follows. Are you ready? Let's go! Mwah.
I'm Captain Nick. My friends know me as Captain Nick. I'm 90 years old. I am a retired captain of the U.S. Merchant Marine and also retired captain of the U.S. Navy. You might ask, how is that possible? Well, I was at sea for 44 years. I had the same rank in the Navy and the Merchant Marine also. I wasn't afraid of anything.
After a little break, we needed that. It's already night time. So Vietnam passed. You were doing that job for 7 years in Vietnam, right? For 7 years?
Yes.
And then the years passed by, you continued doing what you loved, being in the sea.
All right.
And then you went to the Persian Gulf as well. But before the Persian Gulf, what did you do?
Yes. I was called when they created
The Americans.
a fleet to do a special job. The U.S. wanted to control all the oceans and to be able to enter a war anywhere in the world
Okay.
in a very short period of time. They had a huge fleet of 3 squadrons. One squadron was in the Indian Ocean. One squadron was in the Atlantic and another on the Pacific. Each squadron was composed of 14 ships carrying everything that one brigade of Marines could fight for 30 days. One brigade is 15,000 men.
A lot of money.
So, each ship each squadron was composed by 14 ships carrying the equipment of the Marines, from toothpicks to the largest, biggest tank the United States owns. And one ship, there were 5 ships in each squadron that carried the ammunition and the provisions for the brigade. 5 large 50,000-ton ships. My base was Diego Garcia. Diego Garcia is a paradise.
Where's that?
Diego Garcia has no inhabitants, no civilians, only people associated with the U.S. Armed Forces.
Okay.
Because Diego Garcia has the longest Air Force runway in the world.
And where's that?
Yes. The island is 23,000 miles long, and it has the shape of a horseshoe.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now, the island has many things which we are not going to talk about because we don't have the time.
On another episode, we will
Right.
have the time. But where is it really, this island?
Where is Diego? Diego Garcia is in the middle of the Indian Ocean,
Ah, okay.
900 miles south of Sri Lanka,
Okay.
7 degrees below the equator. Right. This is Diego Garcia is the largest of 14 islands that compose the archipelagos of Chagos. The entire group belongs to Great Britain, and the U.S. are renting Diego Garcia. I don't know how many billions of dollars they are paying every year, but they rented the entire island. Okay. It's a paradise. It is an unbelievable.
And they use it for war. They use it for.
It's a base.
It's a base for.
It is the base.
The purpose of the base.
It is the base of a large number of ships ready to go to war.
Yes, yeah.
Ready to go to war anywhere in any country in
Around.
or around the Indian Ocean.
So you were based there, and from there, I figure out that it was the Persian.
Okay, we were anchored in a huge bay. We were not next, but the Americans are unbelievable people. When they are building a position for the armed forces, you will not believe it. There were no women on the island. Men only.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
5,000 men. 5,000 men. Air Force, Marines, and Navy. Like I said, well, I am not going to go into that detail. What happened to the young men that lived there?
Okay.
I'm only going
Off
to
the
say
camera.
they had built bases or fields for every sport there is. Baseball, football, volleyball, and all other kinds.
Everything. Everything.
Yes. We got anchored in the bay. There were boats, fast boats, because we were 3 miles from the shore. And there were navy boats that carried the crews ashore, back and forth. But the crews was working on their ships. They went ashore after 5 o'clock in the afternoon, when the day work finished on the ships.
Yeah, okay.
But you could go, if you had to go ashore, you could go any time of the day you wanted, because every single hour a boat came to the ship.
Yeah.
And they were big boats. They could carry about 50 sailors. It's an unbelievable ship. My ship was built in Denmark. No. Yes, in Denmark. And it was bought by the US government.
Okay.
So we had US flag, and of course we had the colors of a Navy ship. The entire crew had their own private room. But it wasn't just a simple ship's cabin. It was a small house. Each cabin, they had a piece of it was bedroom, a piece of it was office, and a piece, it was big, and a piece of it was living room. Okay, now, like I said, my squadron was ready at any time to go to anywhere in the Indian Ocean.
When you go to the Persian Gulf, what happens there?
Okay, now, this is our base. I have spent altogether 6 years on the island. On the 5th year, we started the first Persian Gulf War. In 3 days, we were in the Persian Gulf. We were the first ship of the fleet to enter the base, the Persian Gulf.
Yeah.
And we landed in Saudi Arabia. There I saw the riches of Saudi Arabia. Now, the meeting between the US government forces and the Arabian government forces, the meeting was on my ship.
Okay.
Now, being the commanding officer of the vessel, I had to be invited to the meeting, but I did not participate. I was only a
listener.
yes.
Yeah.
No,
An attendee.
but I heard everything that was said. The government, we had about 10 Arabian princes in the meeting, and probably half the cabinet of the government. They gave us full permission to create our base in Saudi Arabia in order to protect Saudi Arabia from Saddam Hussein, who, the reason we went there, we were the liberators. Saddam Hussein had invaded Kuwait, and we had to liberate Kuwait. Okay? We were the liberators. So, the entire war was made by the US Air Force.
Right.
We were bombing Saddam Hussein around the clock. Okay? Iraq lost 156,000 army personnel. We lost 136 soldiers, Marines.
Because it was air, as you said, from the US.
Yes, we were bombing the country. It's unbelievable. Around the clock.
It is
Never stopped. We never stopped. We had several Air Force bases around Iraq. Okay.
Can I ask you a question?
Of
Because we've been discussing all this afternoon and evening about your life story, which is, it is really different and it's remarkable in a very special way. And especially with what you said now and before with Vietnam, the carriage you had, it was full of bodies, dead bodies.
You want me to tell you.
Okay, I want to hear your opinion on life and what matters in life.
I know I want to describe you the reason for these two wars that I participated. The Persian Gulf War reason was oil, petroleum,
Yes.
oil. The US wants all the oil in the whole world. They want to own all the oil in the whole world, right? Like I said, America wants all the oil, but the Iraq war had different reasons than Vietnam. Vietnam doesn't produce oil. The reasons of that war was political. We wanted a base in the area. We wanted to control the area. Unfortunately, we lost. We lost. What happened? We split the country. We split Vietnam. Because of the Vietnam War, Vietnam was split. We did not want to start a war. The second time we invaded Iraq was because we did not want Iraq to possess nuclear weapons. The only two countries in the whole world that must have nuclear weapons are Russia and the United States, right?
Yeah.
They are the two. Now we are afraid, or we claim, I guess we are correct.
I understand that, but my question is not philosophical really, but it's like, is it worth it for so much death? Like this world, the way it has been the last century, it's a few that control the masses, and they really control who's going to die, who's going to win, who's going to be in war, who's going to have peace. Do you think that's something that should continue, or do you think that that's something should change in the world?
It has to change. It has to change. Otherwise, in 200 years, if we're going the way we're going, there will be no Earth.
Mm-hmm.
I think already?
Yes, we
No,
are.
all
we
these.
are. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. It was
What's your next question?
It was a long interview, and because you are a person that loves the sea, and that's why you've been in the sea for so
Yes,
many years.
yes.
You said something to me before. You said many things, so probably you don't remember. But tell us a bit about your love about the sea, and we are just going to close this
Okay.
episode.
I was born near the sea. I learned to swim when I was about 4 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I learned the hard way. My grandmother's house goes on a cliff.
Mm-hmm.
Uncle Chris was already a third mate when I was 4 years old. He picked me up and threw me in the water.
The way I learned too. My uncle did that to me as well.
And he said to me, okay, swim.
Now swim, yeah, the same thing.
So I started moving my hands to stay on the surface, really. I almost drowned. So finally he jumped and picked me up.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Now, I came from a family of sailors. I knew no other profession that could compare with going to sea. There was only one profession for me, going to sea, since I was a little boy.
So, Captain Nick
Now, my
Papazoglou.
story starts at the age of 4. My last memories, my earliest memories, start when I was 4 years old. At a village on the island of Hills near the sea, the village of Rondados. I was born near the sea. I lived near the sea.
The island of Chios, right?
Right.
The island of Chios, one of the most beautiful and popular Greek islands. The
It
people that
is.
are familiar with Greece, they know that.
Right. At any event, everything was fine until the Germans came to here. I was 11 years old. But,
So you were a small child back then. What
Yes.
what started everything?
So, for 1 year we suffered. We were hungry. My father was at sea. He could not communicate with us.
He was also
A
captain.
captain,
A
yes.
captain. Oh, so it's a
My
family
father was a
tradition.
captain, right.
Yeah, of course. Island of Chios.
Well, my dear, listen. My father was a captain, my grandfather was a captain, And my great-grandfather was a captain, right?
Yeah, Chios is the island that.
Now, something very strange is all three of them died at sea.
Really?
Oh, yes, they went down with their ships.
Really?
My father was 42 years old when his ship went down during the war in 1942.
So it was during the war?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Now, we did not know that he was dead, and he did not know if we were alive.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, so we suffered. We suffered. If I start telling you the story of those 2 years, we will never finish. So I'm going to just make it very short, and I will jump, okay?
This will be another episode. Okay?
Okay. So, when I was 11, and when I was 12, you will cut a one. I will start from my sea time, all right?
Okay. The memory is coming back now.
They're coming back very, very
Strongly.
clearly. Yeah. But I'm trying to make my story short, because if I start talking, I will never stop for several days, correct?
It's okay, you can say the things that they're
I
important
like-
for you.
Yes.